I stand right now in my life, the best thing about being Palestinian is Ahmed Alawami.
I mean, it's always a party to be a Lebanese. You never get bored.
Generally, when people assume I'm Arab, I'm either from Lebanon or Syria or Egypt or all these mainstream Arab countries, but Yemen is often an overlooked one.
Here, I've actually had someone ask me if Chaldean was a cheese. It's not a cheese.
Like my emergency relief is going to the Marsa, which is really weird. But Arabic food always kind of makes me feel at home.
Explore what it means to be Arab, not just in the context of an isolated identity, but how this identity interacts with other racial and ethnic identities on campus.
People like my dad and my mom, hardworking people. And my ringtone makes me weak.
I love tabbouleh, but I have an allergy to wheat, so I get it without borhol, and then the guy behind the counter always looks at me and he says, "That's not really tabbouleh," but it is tabbouleh. Well, what I love about being Egyptian, you just have this culture of being a loudmouth, and I love it. It's hard to suppress yourself, as you're supposed to be quiet, you're not supposed to be loud, but then you have this culture that says, be who you are, be loud and proud and sing and do lots of talented stuff.
There's a lot to love, but one thing that resonates with me a lot is the community, just being close with my family, being able to lean on them whenever I need to, and them being able to lean on me whenever they need to.
I was taking a taxi home. I was at the Ugly until 4. Yay, finals. And the guy who picked me up, he answered his phone and he was speaking Arabic. When he hung up the phone, actually, I was like, oh, I'm into win, He's like, oh, انت Arabic? Was super excited. We both spoke kind of different dialect. When he took me home, he wouldn't take my money. And I was like, no, lazim, you have to take my money, please, and he's like, no, Rohi, here's my card, whatever you need, call me whenever, I promise I'll get you safe. It's amazing that after just identifying with someoe's language or talking to them in the language they speak, it just opens another door.
There's an instant connection, it's an instant understanding, when someone says, oh, I'm Lebanese too, bam, you just instantly just connect in some way or shape or form. Maybe it's magical, I don't know.
There's a word that we always use in Arabic, it's called Hanan, which means compassion. There's a sense of compassion that I get in my community back home that I always look for it here, but I'll never find it.
Generally, when people ask me where am I from, I ask them from or from, and from Detroit, and I also happen to be Yemeni.
When people ask me where I'm from, I know where they're headed, so I answer in a way that answers their question. So people say, hey Gloria, where are you from? I say, well, I was born here in Michigan, but my mother is from Jordan and my father is from Egypt.
Whoa, you speak really good English. Where are you from? And I said, I'm from the United States. So in that context, I didn't want to allude to any type of otherness that might have been ascribed to me by the color of my skin.
First thing I say is I'm from Raya. Which state am I from? I'm from South Carolina.
I think it depends on who it is and where I am. So at home, a lot of people are Chaldean, so I kind of know a lot of people there, but when I do meet someone and I say I'm Chaldean in West Bloomfield, they're like, oh, okay, done, they know what that is.
I like to answer that one with the Bronx, just because I know that that's sometimes not the click they're looking for, and I'm proud to say that I'm from the Bronx.
I think a big part of my identity is being first generation and remembering, that I'm here and my parents didn't have the opportunity to be here.
Being Muslim, being Arab, a Yemeni in particular, an immigrant, low income status, and then also raised in the city of Detroit. All these things happen to be who I am, and it's very complex. But the work that I do is what makes me very unique, is that I bring that all together and I incorporate that into what I do.
It would have to be being a Christian, because just growing up in a Christian home with my father being a pastor, it led me on the path that I'm at right now, and I'm studying biblical studies, so I guess that's a huge part of my identity, because it shapes how I look at people around me as part of God's creation.
Besides being Arab, I am a Shia Muslim, and that is a big part of my identity, and there aren't that many Shia Muslims on campus.
I'm actually part African American. I mean, I really don't, that doesn't really come up a lot just because I always identified as Sudanese. But that has kind of also helped to shape, you know, who I am coming to campus. That was also kind of like, you know, I'm not really sure where to identify, you know, either Arab or Sudanese or African American. So that's kind of been a long time battle for me, kind of, you know, figuring out where I lie on campus.
I think growing up around working class people and bringing that experience with me, and having that background and coming to Michigan, I think gives me some kind of like unique perspective on life.
In 1948, my grandfather was kicked out of his home in Hoosh, which is today known as Thurrock. And so my family was forced to move to the Gaza Strip. So my dad was also born in the Jabali refugee camp, and I was born in the Jabali refugee camp. And then because of the conditions in Gaza, because of the occupation, because of the siege, my family was trying to look for different lifestyle for them and their children. When they were a few of the lucky students who were allowed to enroll in this nursing school and get the opportunity to leave Gaza to the United States, that's how they came here. So that's why I'm always saying, like, I'm a double refugee from my home, my village, my original village, and a refugee from my refugee camp.
I think being a musician is a big one. It's because people that are not musicians don't really get it. Like, they're like, why are you doing this DJ gig for free? Like, why would you do that, you know? And I'm like, oh, I just want to do it because I just want to do it for the music, for the fun of it. Arabs don't appreciate DJing. They think it's a joke. They don't take it seriously. Whenever they ask me, like, oh, what do you do for work, or what do you do, you know? I'm like, oh, I'm a DJ. Like, that's what I do for work. That's how I get paid. Like, oh, really? There's really misconception about all DJs. All DJs don't go to school. All DJs don't take school seriously and whatnot. It's just very narrow-minded.
You know, not being a member of Greek life, being a person of color, you know, how do I feel as an Arab on this campus? I feel very small.
Can I say that? Yeah, it's been hostile. It's been a very hostile climate on campus, and sometimes you don't even feel safe. You know, as University of Michigan student, as an Arab American, as a Sudanese American student on campus, lately it makes you feel a bit uncomfortable being on campus. Coming in, we're proud to be a part of the Michigan family at first, but once you kind of like get into it and you get used to it, 4 years later, you're kind of looking back and you realize there's a whole lot that needs to be changed.
To go to a huge university like this and to be one of 100 women of color in that class, it's very disappointing to be at a university who thrives off diversity.
When I was in SAFE, and we were just giving out flyers to students passing by, and then one group of students walked by, and then one of them turned and he came up to me. He goes, "Why don't you just go back and strap a bomb on yourself?" And he just said that, like, right there. I didn't want to say anything back to him because I mean, I've heard something like that before. Student here at Michigan to say that, it's just, I don't know, beyond belief.
From the divest thing to even when I was here over the summer, which not too many people were, but it's just been, you know, there's instances of vandalism and stuff like that. So lately it's kind of been very hard to see U of M as your home, you know. We're all students here, you know, we're all part of the Michigan family, but lately it's been really hard to kind of see that.
Being an Arab American woman, I feel isolated, yet I feel outshining at the same time. So I guess it gives me an element of uniqueness because I have something else to draw on, cultural experiences on which I can draw that give me a new perspective to everything I see around me, whether that's being more tolerant or understanding, or whether that's being, I don't know, being able to, I don't know, go to a potluck and bring something other than meatloaf and mashed potatoes. That makes me feel pretty good.
I don't think I've been able to answer that yet, at all.
Freshman year, I kind of like branched out from like, just because I was coming from Dearborn and the whole Arab American community, so I kind of like branched out, tried to figure out other parts of my identity. And so I kind of got to know people in the ASA, African Student Association, you know, because I mean, I'm Arab American, but at the end of the day, I'm also African. And so I kind of got to know everybody else. People from Ghana, from Nigeria. Now, you know, looking back at things, I felt safest when I was with that, you know, people from that organization that I met. They kind of became also like a second or third family here on campus.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had, I mean, I guess I don't know if it even counts, but my safe space is, it's not a safe space, but it's me, it's like my space. Wherever I go, as long as I'm being myself and being real, then that's safe. If we're talking about safe spaces on campus, I would have to say there's a very limited amount of safe spaces. But I guess what I can say is that by being myself, I kind of strive to create my own safe spaces wherever I go, and that's very, very hard to do.
So I haven't felt completely 100% safe anywhere as part of my upbringing. So being someone who is brown, I walk around Ann Arbor and I don't feel safe necessarily. I haven't felt safe in Saudi Arabia either, and that's mainly because of my Shia identity. I actually hid my Shia identity all throughout school. It wasn't until high school that I told my classmates that I'm Shia and wore that on my sleeve. I haven't been in a place where I'm 100% safe, and it's okay for me. It's something that I manage on the day-to-day, and it's a part of my life. But, you know, it would be nice to have a space where I'm 100% safe. And hopefully the Edward Said Lounge could foster that.
On campus, I think that for the past 4 years, the most safe space that I felt is with my Arab and Muslim women friends. Especially after really long meetings where we're subject to a lot of misogyny and a lot of anti-Arab and Islamophobic comments.
What gives me life? Espresso? No, definitely espresso. Without espresso, I'm not a human. Puppies. Babies do give me life. Old people too. Everyone in between's okay. Sorry, Zaineb.
What gives me life is al-Muqawama, which is the resistance. As a Palestinian, my existence is resistance. And so sometimes when I feel like this place is not for me, I'm struggling a lot on campus, I always remember that my whole life has been resistance and it's not going to end here. I'm going to continue resisting in any way, shape, or form.
The dedication that student activists have put into you know, fighting for what they believe in. I was really happy with how articulate, compassionate, and reflective student activists were in pushing the university to divest from companies that are contributing to violations of human rights. You know, that gave me life. To see all of the community unify around one cause that is important to all of us on this campus was something that renewed my faith in humanity.
What gives me life? My mommy. Kittens definitely give me life. Laughing gives me life. At the end of the day, you can cry by yourself, but you can't laugh by yourself because then you're crazy. Strong women give me life. Yeah, I think just knowing women on campus that constantly challenge you and constantly engaging in conversations that I would have never had if I went somewhere else.
Well, my favorite term of endearment in general is habibti, so I feel like just hearing that, it's so sweet, and I don't think it translates directly. That's one of my favorite things about Arabic.
One word that's my favorite and least favorite word is al-ghurba, which means like the detachment that people have when they're away from their homeland or from their loved ones. I think why I love it so much is because it sort of connects a lot of the Arabs that live in the diaspora. They all feel this longing of returning or longing of for their homeland or for their culture that's so under threat here.
My favorite Arabic word would have to be wal'at. The exact meaning, wal'at is like setting something on fire, but the real meaning of it is like getting hype, like getting something hype, you know, getting up and doing that thing. Or you sometimes say wal'at, you know, just in the moment type of phrase.
My grandma, Tunisian, whenever she comes over, like me and my sister caught this like a couple years ago, where she'll have like these like random sayings, and it has absolutely no meaning. Shalagatu malagatu. I think that's what it means. I don't even know what it means. I just like the word.
I think keeping the momentum going. We've established a presence, I think, recently. I think keeping that going, letting our voices be heard and be heard even louder, and just getting everyone who is Arab, maybe people who are untouched, involved, and tapping into their identity and really getting to know how awesome we are. You know, every year we keep getting bigger and better, and soon enough you're like, oh wow, like I want our own building where we can go. I want our own Edward Said lounge. I do want a space where we can all just go and be together.
I definitely hope that the Arab community on campus becomes more diverse, inclusive, and more socially aware of the tensions and the struggles that all of the other Arab Americans in the group or in the community face. Because as a Yemeni American, I oftentimes feel very, very marginalized in the conversations that happen about Arabness or being Arab. That's what's happening. It's all these different Arab identities outside of those mainstream ones are being marginalized, and that's what's happening on campus as well. So we need to be the opposite of that. We need to bring everybody together, make sure that we are including everybody and we're looking for them. So nobody, I just feel like when I got on campus, nobody looked for me, nobody looked for the Yemeni Americans. They're just naturally a very marginalized group, so it was okay on campus to let that continue.
There's like so few of us on campus that in like the bigger picture of things, that we really shouldn't be focusing on the small things that make us different. We can be proud of those things, and we can have events and socials that highlight those differences. But at the end of the day, we should all remember that if we don't have each other's backs, then we're gonna fall apart.
بس حبيت أقول شكرا لكل الطلاب العرب اللي موجودين، اللي يتكلموا عربي واللي ما يتكلموا عربي. صوتكم يهمني، فشكرا لأنكم موجودين. لأنكم موجودين أنا أحس إني موجود. شكرا. يلا علي الكوفية، علوا لي هالكوفية، الكوفية كوفية عربي، علوا هلا بلاد الشام، كوفية عربية بتضل عربية، ما في بعد مثل الشعب العربي.